A prequel to Z Nation on Netflix. Let's see where this goes. What's up, Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe, guys. I'm one of your hosts, as always, C-Dubs, and I'm not riding solo on this video. As you can see, I got Mikey in my lap, guys, and today we are talking about Black Summer. Now, this is a TV show that is set inside of the Z Nation universe. It is a Netflix original as well. And I gotta say, it's also brought to us by the creators of the Asylum movies, which generally are terrible beyond terrible. They are the ones that create, most of these silly spoof movies. Like the Grim Avengers, which is basically a take on the Avengers, but with, the grim characters, if you will, like from children folklore and stuff like that. Or like, instead of Transformers, you get Transmorphers, or instead of like Tomb Raider, you get Tomb Explorer or something like that. It's definitely just the worst of the worst when it comes to them. And sometimes I do watch those films just because of morbid, dark curiosity. This is also a zombie apocalypse films, and if you know me, I dig that kind of stuff. Some of my favorite movies are zombie apocalypse films. And I get it, there's a zombie fatigue across all mediums, if you will. Of course, this being one of the reasons, and even I have fallen off of this show. I want to get back into it eventually, but again, I totally get it. But this was a show that the trailer looked interesting enough. There was a little bit of buzz about it when it first came out, and it's been out a couple weeks yet, and now, since the wife and I have been playing Days Gone, that zombie bug is kind of nipping at my heels again, and I just thought I'd give it a shot and see what I thought, and see if it was good or bad, and let you guys know. And I gotta say, it's kind of somewhere in the middle. Now, there's definitely a lot of things that are not good about this show, and as always, we're going to get into the good, the bad, and the badass. But I want to talk about the good first and foremost. Like I said, it is set in the Z Nation universe. It is brought to us from the Asylum, but the production on this is 10 times better than anything I've ever seen out of the Asylum. It is created and directed, brought to us by John Hames, Carl Schaefer, and Abrams Cox. And it's starring Jamie King as Rose. I have a hard time pronouncing this young lady's name. Gwen Lee, Sun. She plays Sun. And then we have Sal Verse Jr. He plays William, who's my favorite character. You have Justin Curry, who plays Spears. And then you have Casey Flowers, who plays Lance. Now, there's a couple of other people here and there, but those are like your main guys that we're following throughout this zombie apocalypse. Now, what this show really does good is, especially the plot, if you will, the pilot, I should say. The pilot film is just off-the-wall bananas. It's very good. It's directed in different pieces. You get to see, this is what's happening over here, and then we cut over to these people, and this is what's happening over there. As well as, you get these really visceral, I think that's a really good word too, visceral camera angles. Like you're in the person's bubble a lot of the times. Like it's in your face, you're in their personal space, and you kind of feel that, especially in that pilot, if you will. It does kind of separate a little bit from that as the show goes on. However, it's still here and there picks and kind of finds its way on how to just be like in the moment. It really does a good job at capturing it and putting you there. Like you feel like you're a part of what's going on. And I gotta give praise to that. I've never really seen a zombie film to do it like that. Now, it's not all shaky cam or anything, but the guy is running with you with the camera, and you feel like you're a part of that. Another thing is, as the show kind of goes on, there's these like little cuts that it kind of goes to black, and you get like a subtitle, like almost like a chapter of a book, if you will. And that kind of intrigues you to be like, oh, okay, let's see what this is about. Oh, there's like one called Dog, and you're like, oh no, is there going to be a dog? Is the dog going to die? So you're looking forward into what's going on, or like Alone, and you're like, okay, so this is going to be a really dark episode to show you what it's like to be alone in a situation like this. So it does really good at setting you up for anticipation for what's to come. So I really like that about this show, and I might be open to it for other shows to do something like that, because it does intrigue your like I said, your what if you will. Like you're sitting there and just like, oh man, I can't wait to see what happens next, or who's going to be alone or anything like that. And they also, like I said, they'll show you this character and what happens, and then they'll show you another thing that almost happens out of place, okay? And it's almost up to you to piece it all together, and I really like that about this show too, and I hope that they do a lot more with it. Now, the characterizations is where it starts to kind of dip a little bit. You don't spend enough time with these characters, and there's not a lot of dialogue. In many of these episodes. There's more action in terms of running and pacing and just being scared and being in the moment. Now, there is definitely dialogue, but again, I noticed that there just isn't as much as you would normally see in something like The Walking Dead, which gives you tons and tons of dialogue, which some can drag on and just be pointless, and part of the reason why a lot of people fallen off the show. This doesn't do that, okay, but what it does do is it gives you a lot of stupid characters that do a lot of stupid things, and there's also a lot of inconsistencies from the show. Maybe it's due to editing, or maybe it's just because the writers are not as skilled as they want to be. For instance, Lance injures his hand in the show, and you see it becomes a focal point to a certain degree. You don't really get to see how it gets messed up, but then you all of a sudden notice it's all bloody, it's messed up, it hurts. He's trying to start the car with his left hand, okay, because he can barely use it. And then, like, the next scene or next couple of scenes later, it seems it's fine, and we never go back to it, at least as of yet. Now, with the way the show kind of cuts things out of place, maybe we'll go back and see that in season 2, but as of season 1, it's just something that's kind of left, and you don't really get to see much of, and you're just like, what happened to his hand? Or they do stupid things, like make stupid decisions to put themselves in the harm's way. Like, there's a scene where William and a bunch of people are inside a diner, and they decide that they're going to make a distraction, jump out there and try to beat him down, and it's like 2 people to 1 zombie. There's 2 zombies outside, and each person, each zombie has 2 people to face. And they're beating and hacking away and pummeling it, and they still end up losing, and they have to run and retreat and run back into the diner. And then, like, the next couple of scenes later, they're like, let's go back outside and try it again. Well, it failed the first time. I don't even understand how it failed when there was 2 of you on them. But then they're like, let's go and do it again. Like, come on, let's refocus and re-strategize here before we move forward in our process of thinking. But, that's something I can overlook. A lot of horror movies make people do stupid things just for the sake of the excitement or the thrill, and I get it. However, a lot of these people are really, really dumb. We get some characters that don't necessarily speak or understand English, which is really cool. They don't explore as much into it as I would have liked, but I can see how that would put some people off. Like, Sun, she only speaks Korean, and she does have like this one moment where she puts on a speech, maybe a minute or 2 long, this dialogue and this monologue, and you don't know what she's saying because there's no subtitles or anything like that. So you may lose yourself in the moment of it all, obviously unless you speak Korean. But again, I do like the idea of showing a character that cannot communicate, extremely well with the rest of the people in her group, and also to show that she is a very strong and useful survivor within the group as well is kind of cool. I do like that. I hope they do a little bit more with that in season 2. But again, it's kind of a hit in some episodes and a miss in some others, with her not being able to communicate very well with the group. Another thing that's really cool, there's for a good part of the I think it's either the pilot or the second episode, we get to see what's going on through the eyes of the zombie almost. Not first person, but you get to follow the zombie for a really good portion of the episode or of the chapter. You're literally running around with them, seeing them trying to figure things out. And that's another thing that you kind of notice with these zombies. You are dealing with running zombies. You do from time to time see them trying to figure out how to get to their prey. Some of them it's easier than others. So I don't know if we'll get, or if Z Nation has ever talked about how some are smarter than others. However, in this show they don't explain it, they just kind of show it, and you're led to believe that some can figure things out, some can't. Like, they figure out how to use doors, okay, but some can't figure out that they can break through glass, but some can. a zombie tries 10 times trying to climb on top of a school bus, but on the 11th time he kind of figures it out. So, you know, it's kind of interesting to see where they go with that. But what I would say is the most badass thing about this, again, is the camera angles, okay, the visceral nature of being there. I'm telling you guys, give it a shot. At least the pilot is worth just watching, especially if you're into film or photography at all. This is definitely a way. I want to see more horror-based films, or even like drama, like war dramas, where you're in the moment. The camera angles to this really put you there. You really feel violated in some of these scenes where you're a part of what's going on. Now, another really interesting part about this show is, though it is a zombie-focused show, it's not. It's more so we're following and seeing the terrible, despicable shit we humans do for no freaking fracking reason. And that, I think, might be what I like the most about this. And that might be the most badass part. We get a scene where we get into this school and we get this really Lord of the Flies, like these children who are terrorizing grown adults in this situation. Like, this is their fort, don't come knocking because you ain't gonna like what you find type of thing. And I thought that was really cool and really different. We also get to, you know, are told that some people are just bad, you know, because that's the rules of the road in a situation like this. We don't get to know how much time has passed to know if people just all of a sudden decided to be bad and try to rob and hurt and shoot people. Son early on in the first few episodes stumbles into a house and there's a guy with a shotgun and 3 people, or looks like the family that lived there, are all tied up, and he's getting ready to kill them, and he's like, "Get out of here!" And then, you know, as she runs away, you hear the shotgun blasts. So it's just like, you don't understand why people don't band together in these type of situations, and why you can't trust people in these type of situations. It really shows the evil nature that we have. And to some degree, it can be a little frustrating because you're just like, why can't we all just get along? And there may be a little few stereotypes, not just with zombie movies, maybe more so with all horror movies. For instance, and this is a little bit more of a spoiler, Spears is your gangbanger, if you will, your bad guy. He beats up a soldier and then takes his jacket and is... But from that point on, he's kind of being a good guy. He's kind of like amongst some of the best of them, trying to help Rose find her daughter. You know, and overall, I gotta say, I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely say go check it out. But overall, I gotta say, I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. And I would say it's definitely, if you are a fan of zombies at all, zombie apocalypse, just end of the world scenarios, if you're a fan of Z Nation, this is a definite must check out. If you are a film buff and just like different type of angles and different types of cinema, this is another you know, great show to watch, to get inspired by, or just to see a different take on some of these things. However, there are also some mistakes and cues to not follow. Like, there's a scene in a grocery store where you literally can see the guy, with the camera guy, through the reflection of the freezer door coolers. So there's even that, and that might be a part of the charm, I guess, of the show, where it's like it wants to do so much so well, but it's stumbling and maybe learning as it goes. Maybe season 2 things will get a lot better, but it is kind of lackluster at the very end, so don't expect anything, and they don't give you too much to let you know if there will be a season 2. But I would like to think that there will be. It was good. The plot of the show is not its strongest point, but the pilot was just amazing, to be honest with you guys. So check it out, Universe. I'd give this a solid 3 out of 5 in terms of zombie apocalypse films. Check it out. Let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think? Are you just over the zombie, you know, wave, if you will? Do you just not care anymore? If you have seen it, let me know what you thought. Are you excited? If you also watch Z Nation, let me know. Is this a show I should jump on if I like zombie apocalypse films? Is it worth watching? Guys, don't forget to Hulk smash the hell out of that like button. Smash it like you mean it. Subscribe if you haven't already, guys. And until next time, I'm C-Dubs, and I'll see you in the universe. Peace.